All right. It's a stupid Steven Crowder Socialism Venezuela shit video, and I want to watch it.
Do you think it's a better scenario that citizens are being defenselessly run over by tanks from their government as
Wasn't that the opposite government?
opposed to a civil war scenario where they fight back? So because they're completely defenseless right now and they're getting bazookaed to high heaven, you think they should have no way to defend themselves?
Wait a second. Huh.
Top 5 lessons learned from Venezuela. Let me ask you this. What have you learned most from the story unfolding in Venezuela? Everyone's been talking about Barr. This has been a little lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. Nothing surprising.
No,
Right, exactly.
they've really taught us a lot. So obviously they've reached a boiling point, right?
Yeah.
The citizens have been staging massive demonstrations against the dictator Maduro. And by the way, how do you pronounce the name of the legitimate president?
Legitimate.
I don't know.
Well, I know. Is it? We'll just say Juan. His last name is very hard for me to pronounce properly. Juan. President Juan Gaudo? I don't know.
I'm not gonna work here.
But anyway, there have been demonstrations going on, obviously against dictator Maduro, who is not recognized. So Juan, the other guy, recognized as the interim president by both the United States. This is important to note, and
I'm gonna do this one hand. How do I spell Venezuela? Oh, it's right there. I thought the other guy was controlling. I'm pretty sure I thought the other guy was controlling. Maduro tank. Okay. Okay, we're good.
Other nations. Actually, I think do we have a clip and a freeze here to show you what's going on? We just
can't
froze.
play
We can't show it because they've been running over dissidents with tanks. And Maduro is, for people who haven't been following, let me give you a brief kind of history lesson. He's a socialist turned dictator, but I repeat myself.
Is that better?
Slaughtering civilians. And this is what's so important. People say, well, no, this is an example of pure socialism. Okay, the most
pure socialism. I don't know about that one.
The tragic thing here is that it is entirely predictable. This isn't the first time this kind of a government has run people over with tanks.
No.
And before you say that it's not true socialism, let me walk you through the top lessons as to why it is. Lesson number 5, by the way, is that democratic socialists are going to hate lessons 4 through 1. Hit the notification bell
and the
bookmark the page. Join up at Mug Club, by the way, because we're hitting everything's demonetized now. Of course, subscribe on iTunes. So the 4th lesson that I think is most important here is that socialism doesn't work. And I know this is a lot of people say, well, this isn't. No, hold on a second. We're not talking about places like Venezuela. Actually, do you know how I know you? Bernie Sanders and celebrities have long praised Venezuela and other South American socialist countries. What?
Yeah, because before they got fucking annihilated because Saudi Arabia dropped their oil prices, completely crumbling the Venezuelan economy, because that was like 90% of their economy was selling oil. They had a very prosperous nation with nationalized oil reserves, so it contributed to a very nice economy for them. They had like extremely low employment rates and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, if I'm remembering correctly, Saudi Arabia dropped their fucking oil prices super fucking cheap. It completely decimated the Venezuelan economy. And then on top of that, the United States threw tariffs at them. It's almost like it's not predictable that socialist nations fail. It's predictable that the United States will intervene on any kind of socialist nation.
They did it when their economies seemed to work.
Way back in, 1961, they invaded Cuba. And everybody was totally convinced that Castro was the worst guy in the world, that all the Cuban people were going to rise up in rebellion against Fidel Castro. They had forgotten that he educated their kids, gave them health care, totally transformed the society.
It's funny. Oh, that's true. That's the same thing that happened in Vietnam. The United States walked in there and said, "Oh, look, this guy's totally a dictator. The Venezuelan people will like rise up with us and take him down." Nope. Turns out you got your ass beat because the people didn't support you. Today, there are still people alive who respect and like love Fidel Castro. Because yes, although he fucked up on some other aspects, of course, and that's like really, really bad, and I'm not defending that whatsoever. He did a lot of good for some people, so obviously he's not like a total dictator. He's just gonna run over and fucking like, he's not completely evil, right?
Sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing.
I love this quote because it's true. If you're lining up for food, that means you have an abundance of food. If you're starving, it means you have no food.
Other countries, people don't line up for food.
But
the rich get the food and the poor starve to death.
Oh, he doesn't under his view is skewed because there's no lineup in the prune juice aisle. By the way,
What? No, he's talking about food lines. Talking about people who get their food for free. Because they're so fucking poor.
when people argue that it's not real, do you know how I know that it's not true? Still today, okay? Bernie still has an article on his website today, right now, that claims Venezuelans are living the American dream better than those in the United States. Today, right now, and I guarantee you after this show, Venezuelans.
Yeah, today. And then guess what? I bet you the article. Oh my god. Let's see if he links the article. Nope. Why would he? Anyways, this article that he wrote will be timestamped for whenever he actually wrote it. And he just hasn't taken it down because why would you? If you're not a fucking idiot. Hold on. Let's see. I'll look for it. Because he's not going to show the timestamp here, obviously. Alright. Alright, let's find this stupid timestamp. Ready? Wow. Oh. Did I spell it right? I did. Wow. No, not threaten America. There we go. Sanders, look at here's the fucking article. When is it timestamped? 2011. Huh. It's almost like he's not talking about today. He's talking about August 5th, 2011. Amazing.
Are living the American dream better than those in the United States. Today, right now, and I guarantee you after this show, they'll probably wait 2 weeks until this blows over and then remove it, and then you can time machine go.
No, they don't need to, because there's a timestamp. Now, if I remember correctly, there's a way I could check when that was edited last. Hold on. Oh. We're gonna look, how to... Let's see. Okay. Use our free HTTP header check tool to get the details of the web page. Let's open that up. So I just post a link in this? Yep. Okay. Copy. Pasta. Oh. Is that an I or an L? Or a 1? So May 6th. Is that today? So that's today's date. Whoops, I'm looking. HTTP server last modified Friday, August 11th. Oh fuck! Oh my god! It's almost like that timestamp has been on there for literally years. Oh my god! So it hasn't been edited since it was published on the 5th of August. So it was published and then unedited since then. So this timestamp has been there since 2011. So Sanders isn't talking about today. You just decide to clip out whatever section of the article it says in today, even though he doesn't reference the timestamp. So fucking stupid. God damn it. Guess I don't need to see an older side. That gives me everything I need to know. All right.
Back to today, right now, this Thursday. What's the date?
May 2nd.
Thursday,
yeah.
May
2nd still says on Bernie Sanders' website, official website, that Venezuelans are living the American dream.
Is that lining up for...
Well, except for, you know, the whole 2011 thing. Except for like the whole like lie, but that's okay.
For a toilet paper?
Actually, hold on. Let me see if there's anybody like talking about the article. Okay, I love this. When the government is the only ones with firearms less guns, the people are at their mercy. No. The people make up your government. And if you just peacefully protest, the government will, I mean, unless of course the government wants to literally annihilate all of their citizens. Haha. Oh, fuck. I wonder if the article about the article that Steven Crowder wrote, it also excludes the timestamp on the fucking article. Oh my god. How dishonest. Okay. And then grab the full thing. What the fuck? Okay, I need to get that out of there.
Paper and having to eat dogs because you're starving to death. I don't remember that being the American dream.
The idea you cannot simply say it's not real socialism because it doesn't work now. You praised it. Bernie still praises it. This is
Bernie doesn't still praise it. This is dated 2011. Fucking Jesus Christ.
It's what you got. It's over. You're done. Screw your attempted pivot to Denmark. They don't want you. By the way, Maduro was elected.
Yeah.
And if you say it was a special election because Chavez died, fine. So did Chavez was elected.
Yeah.
You asked for the scales were tipped a little bit by endorsements from one Jeff Spicoli and Bernie Sanders. Still pretty fair and free.
Yeah.
Sorry, leftists, you can't blame this on corrupt leaders.
No.
When your system, this is what the system of socialism is what grants them unbridled power in the first place.
Exactly.
The fact that a socialist turns into a dictator because you created the sole environment where he can become an all-powerful dictator is your fault.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Do you want to explain how that's possible? Because we could still have socialism with like a parliamentary system or even a two-party system. It still works. The only thing that you need to do with socialism is take out the markets, take out capitalism. That's it. That's like then you're into socialism. After that, it's all up to like different democracy can still exist within socialism. You fucking moron.
And we already did a video debunking John Oliver's lies, specifically on Venezuela, why it failed. You can watch it on the channel. But let me give you kind of a brief summary for people who don't understand. They try and say, well, it's about the economy. No, okay. Venezuela, most oil-rich country in the world, one of them, more so than Saudi Arabia. A lot of people don't know this.
Yeah.
Chavez
Huge reserves.
had the state run the oil industry instead of investing it back into the oil industry,
right?
Investing profits
or
back.
in the economy to grow other sectors.
They used it to pay for a ton of socialist programs. That's why people liked them for a while, creating a bubble that burst when the oil market didn't do that well. So when people say it's
But why did the oil market not do that well? It's because Saudi Arabia canned their fucking prices in an effort to destabilize Saudi Arabia, to destabilize Venezuela. Duh. Why were they capable of doing that without really suffering a huge effect themselves? Well, because they had the United States backing them, and they were just buying all the oil from them, regardless of the price.
It's all about oil. No. What was a road bump for the capitalist economies was an absolute disaster for Venezuela. And so before these protests, this is what's important to note. Right now, you see them being run over with tanks and shot by their government. It seems severe. But before this,
hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Let me just go. Is there a 3 hours video on this or like something? Vox, I don't give a fuck. Vice. I gotta find somebody that they won't just go like, "Hey, you fucking moron." I don't know if this. Nope. It's from 5 years ago, goddamn. Yeah, there's a bunch of David Pakman videos. Fuck. Okay, let's see. I think he did a video on it. I could just grab the Vox one, but like, I know that they'll just be like, nope. So you gotta find somebody like under the radar. When you find somebody under the radar, they just don't notice it. I don't know. Oh, no. Well, what's the Vox one about? I guess.
Yo estoy con ese todo el tiempo de marcha por mi familia, por la comida, por el pueblo.
Siempre voy a estar en la calle luchando por la libertad de mis hijos. Y bueno.
La violencia del gobierno y la violencia del AMPA. Todo eso son razones para tú salir a protestar, a manifestar, a defender tus derechos y aspirar a una mejor Venezuela.
Venezuela was once the richest country in Latin America. It has the largest known oil reserves in the world, and its democratic government was once praised worldwide. But today, Venezuela's democratic institutions and its economy are in shambles. The country has the highest inflation rate in the world, making food and medicine inaccessible to most Venezuelans. Over the last 4 years, its GDP has fallen 35%, which is a sharper drop than the one seen during the Great Depression in the U.S.
Okay, so this is good, actually. These stats right here just show me that when this article was made, Venezuela was doing very well. I wasn't sure about that, but no. Apparently the crash happened around 2016-ish, 2015, you know, just boom. Killed them off, which makes sense. I remember that happening.
The murder rate has surpassed that of the most dangerous cities in the world. These conditions have sparked months of protests against the president, Nicolas Maduro, and it's easy to see why. The country has become measurably worse since his election in 2013. A poll showed that about 80% of Venezuelans want Maduro removed from office. But instead, the opposite has happened. Maduro has consolidated his power, bringing the country closer to authoritarian rule. Maduro's political ambition became evident in December 2015. 2 years after he became president, a coalition of opposition parties called the Democratic Unity Roundtable, or MUD, won a 2/3 majority in the National Assembly, putting Maduro's rule at risk. In response, Maduro quickly forced out several Supreme Court justices and filled the positions with cronies loyal to him. In March 2016, the court ruled to strip the opposition-led National Assembly of its powers, a move that sparked massive protests across the country. The ruling was reversed a few days later, but the damage was done. Protests continued to grow and have left about 100 dead and thousands injured so far. Despite the violence and public outcry, Maduro held a vote in July to elect a new governing body called the National Constituent Assembly, which would have the power to rewrite Venezuela's constitution and essentially replace the National Assembly, and leave
Nice.
no opposition to Maduro's rule.
Good job.
Bueno, una paz para todos.
With Maduro's recent vote, Venezuelans didn't have a say in whether the assembly should exist. They only had the option to elect its members. But when Maduro's predecessor, Hugo Chavez, proposed a constitutional rewrite in 1999, he first called for a referendum to propose the election of the assembly. After most Venezuelans voted yes, they then elected a new National Constituent Assembly. See, unlike Maduro, Chavez was a charismatic and beloved leader. In the 90s, he burst onto television sets across the country. He blamed government corruption and Venezuela's elite for the economic inequality. His populist message resonated with the country's poor, who eventually helped bring him to power. The key moment in his presidency came in 2004, when oil prices surged. Venezuela's petroleum-dependent economy started booming, and Chavez went on to spend billions from the profits on social welfare programs for the poor. He subsidized food, improved the educational system, built an enviable healthcare system, and reduced poverty by more than half. These programs certainly helped the poor, but they served a purpose for Chavez as well. In order to be re-elected, he needed to keep these millions of poor Venezuelans happy. So he rigged the economy to do just that. He didn't scale back Venezuela's dependence on oil, and his unrestrained spending led to a growing deficit, which meant all of his programs would be impossible to sustain if oil prices fell. After Chavez's death, when Maduro took office as his handpicked successor, that's exactly what happened. Oil prices plummeted in 2014, and Maduro failed to adjust. Hyperinflation has made medicines and food that were once subsidized unaffordable for Venezuelans poor, who now make up about 82% of the population. Like Chavez, Maduro has also rigged the economy to keep himself in power, but this time it's not benefiting the poor. He's exploited a complex currency system put in place by Chavez. Maduro set the official exchange rate at 10 bolivars per US dollar, but only his friends and allies have access to this rate. In reality, the Venezuelan currency has become basically worthless. Most Venezuelans get their dollars on the black market, where the rate is about 12,000 bolivars per dollar. The military, which got complete control of the food supply from Maduro in 2016, is reportedly profiting off this currency crisis. They import food at Maduro's special currency rate and sell it on the black market for a massive profit. So for military generals and political allies of Maduro, the crisis has offered a lucrative opportunity which has helped Maduro stay in power. But he can't rely on support alone. Which brings us back to Maduro's recent power grab. The opposition boycotted the vote, but Maduro held the vote for a new constitutional assembly anyway, and won a majority.
Protests on the streets of Venezuela turning deadly after President Nicolas Maduro declares victory.
Violence on Sunday very real. The bomb went off near some motorcycle police, wounding several.
Election day protesters face protesters and police claiming at least 10 more lives.
At least one candidate has been murdered, shot to death.
La elección de la Asamblea Nacional Constituyente es un fraude abierto, todo el mundo lo ve, lo ha visto, está claro, todos están claros de lo que sucedió. Ahora, lo que hay que seguir es seguir buscando la libertad, porque nosotros vivimos en libertad y sabemos lo que es eso. Para allá vamos ahí.
Lo que sucedió ayer fue el más grande fraude que se haya cometido en cualquier elección nacional. Era un fraude cantado, ya se sabía que iba a ser una elección con poca asistencia, pero con una gran participación forjada por el gobierno.
Maduro's government is trying to create the illusion of public support. The government claimed about 8 million people, or 40% of the country, voted, but experts put that number much lower, at just 3 million people. The international community, including Peru, Canada, Spain, Mexico, and Argentina, condemned the election. The U.S. imposed financial sanctions on Maduro and members of his government. But Maduro's assembly, filled with loyalists, convened anyway, and it swiftly removed Attorney General Luis Ortega, leader of the opposition. Armed groups reportedly arrested several other opposition leaders too. Whether the group will rewrite the constitution or postpone the next presidential election remains to be seen. For now, Maduro has unprecedented power over a country that continues to spiral out of control.
Whoa. It's almost like it's like half true. So yeah, maybe Chavez like fucked up, you know, put too much stuff so that like if the oil market ever crashed, like it would be a problem. But like, why did the oil market crash? This video sadly doesn't explain that, but that's okay. Let's just deal with this on its own. So the oil market crashes, and then Maduro steps in, and instead of trying to bring back up the economy in other ways, to try to stabilize it through other means, he just tries to profit off of the oil or whatever and food, and then sell it back to his own people for like dirt cheap to make fuck tons of money. Huh. It's almost like Maduro's bad, but you trying to put in like, but it's almost like it's not socialism either.
We're starving. They were digging through trash for food.
Yeah.
Freddy Mata says it is the only way he can eat.
No. At least we have not died of hunger.
While he dislikes having to do this, he says he finds food that is edible.
Socialism doesn't just kill people by running them down with tanks. It starves them first. Yeah.
Haha, yeah, that was totally socialism that did that.
This is important, and I don't want to be simplistic, so let me back.
It's very strange. Like it's like, a socialist government came into power. Oh, okay, so anything that happens in your country from now on is blamed on socialism as a system, and not any other factors. Not why did the oil market crash? Like why did just like a million things. Like I don't understand. And like that other video just said that there are like tariffs on the Maduro government right now, which is true, and it might be. I don't know if it's ever justified, but like you can't build your economy back up if you're tariffing the fuck out of them too, and they're being stupid. And is this next president like the true? Like he says, like the true president, but why is he the true president? Is it just because of the United States? Like, does he actually have public support? Debatable.
Necessary for a free society.
Essential.
So here you can see someone on MSNBC. Actually admitting that Venezuelans are completely powerless because they don't have gun rights.
You have to understand, in Venezuela, gun ownership is not something that is open to everybody. So if the military have the guns, they have the power. And as long as Nicolas Maduro controls the military, he controls the country.
Uh-oh, did I just say that out loud?
That would never happen here, though. Come on. That would never happen here.
Was that Tucker Carlson in a fat suit?
How did that make air?
I know what people are going to say. People have been saying this nonstop on social media. Like, it's what they call the reverse nirvana fallacy. I think they call it that in either rhetoric, logic, or philosophy. It's hard to know which is taught in college. I remember I learned about this in college. Well, the idea that, well, hold on a second. If they had guns, do you think it would fix the problem here? The government has tanks. Okay, hold on a second. So let's, before we get into the statistics, let me ask you this. Do you think it's a better scenario that citizens are being defenselessly run over by tanks from their government as opposed to a civil war scenario where they fight back?
Yeah, both are shitty. So what you do is if both sides have guns, then it's a massive civil war, and other nations can just profit off of it by just selling the fuck ton of arms to people, and then we have an endless war inside the. Like it's so much deeper. It's endlessly deeper than just, oh guys, what's better, a civil war between the two nations, or them getting defensively run over? Well, it's very easy to tell who's doing the war crimes when one side of the faction doesn't have any guns and are defenseless, and one side of the faction is being a dickhead. It's very easy to tell. Like, oh, just fuck them because, well, they're running over civilians, obviously. Now, if you give both sides guns, then all of a sudden it gets very sticky because both sides can have equal. Like, you don't know who's gonna do. Like, who knows if the population would just start running over military people, or like just literally completely dusting the Geneva Convention when they go into civil war. Who the fuck knows? And then after that, what to say that nations will look to profit, especially the United States, will look to profit off of this civil war and keep it going forever and ever and ever by just constantly giving arms to each side and keeping the battle going on for decades, so that they can constantly throw money at it, and we could just have another Middle East 2.0, but this time in Venezuela, because, well, why the fuck not? Oh, guys, it's a just war. We gotta take down we're supporting the civilians, but we're also just not helping them enough to actually take over the government, and we're also actually secretly selling arms to the government side too, so, whoops.
So because they're completely defenseless right now, and they're getting bazookaed to high heaven, you think they should have no way to defend themselves?
No, but, we can just help, like, there's humanitarian things we can do, like there's the UN, if we approve some sort of support, like, they're currently breaking laws, international laws that we've set up. So the Maduro government is going to face some punishment, and we may move in there and stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure what exactly happens there, but yeah, there's not much. If you give, like, it's not like the civil war is going to be clean. It's not like if you give the civilians all these guns, oh, they're fine. Oh, they didn't do anything wrong. No, there's a million problems with war. Like, what the fuck?
I don't understand the argument. And by the way, it's also incorrect. With an unarmed population, Maduro is barely hanging on to power. Okay? If you dump 300 million guns into the mix, he'd be through.
Yeah, they're doing it with rocks and bottles right now. Can you imagine if they were armed in any way?
This is the idea. Is like, well, they would just nuke. Well, no, there's a ground war that needs to be fought, and right now they are fighting without guns. And the Second Amendment is designed specifically. This is where people miss it.
It's just so dumb. Because even if I can somewhat agree with this, that people don't need to have all their guns removed from them, the way your Second Amendment is set up is so fucking berserk. Like, there's absolutely, like, you need to have universal background checks, at least minimum. Like, come on. Like, sure, I can agree with you that maybe you should need to have your citizens armed so that they can stop things like this. Your stupid point about, like, oh, it's better than a civil war. Well, there's a million other complications. It's not that simple of, like, oh, well, the government's being mean, so the citizens need to defend themselves. It's like, well, the citizens, if they're given guns, probably won't defend themselves. They'll rise up and cause their own fucking shit-stirring shit. You're giving power to some low-level fucking warlord if he has like, there's gonna be gangs in Venezuela. If you dump a bunch of guns in there, they'll get it first. They'll start up the uprising. Like that. It's not simple. It's not a fucking clear cut. You just give the civilian guns and then everything is hunky dory. Everything is fucking amazing. No, there's a million problems that could happen if you give the civilians guns. But anyways, regardless of that. Yeah, so like I could maybe agree that, you know, some like in Canada we may be a little bit lax on it, or I don't know, maybe Canada's good. I'm not 100% sure how the laws work in Canada. I'm pretty sure I can go in and get a gun. I'm not sure how many what access I have to everything. But regardless, in the United States, if you just implement something like universal background checks and you make sure that people who can't handle guns can't, like, you know, shouldn't have them, make sure that there's a very large ad campaign and like super uber lots of access to what would it be, gun safety classes and stuff like that. Make sure that everybody who owns a gun at least knows how to handle a fucking gun. Then it would be much better, and all of you get to keep your fucking guns, except for the people who definitely don't deserve it because they're fucking psychopaths or criminals or crazy or whatever. You know, it's very simple. But you're not gonna be for any of that. You just want the Second Amendment to be fucking as free as humanly possible for some fucking reason.
When they talk about it being hunting, I know it sounds like a broken record, but it's designed specifically to prevent this kind of government from even attempting this sort of tyranny.
Oh, but that would never happen here.
Yeah, that's the next part. It would never happen here. So let's just make sure that we have no.
It would never happen here. I don't know of anyone who's ever debated that. Mostly because a lot of people who like, we're not for just taking away every single one of your fucking guns. Okay, like we don't really give a fuck. But you have to do some, like, everyone's a fucking moron in the United States. You're shooting people left and right. Okay, goddamn.
Fail safe. Take the United States for example. If you look at the numbers, we have a population of 320-something million people. Okay? We have 300-something million guns. I think it's over 30%. Oh, yeah, it's over 30% of households who own guns. Our total military population is just over 2 million. That's including active and reserve personnel. There's no chance of the United States gunning down its people because they know the citizenry is so armed. It cannot.
Okay, but I don't understand why you think that, like, the United States. So you got 2 million people in reserve. Why do you, like? I guess because he's a fucking conservative. Like, you, like, what's the appeal to authority here? Why do you think that every single military person will just follow his orders? Just no. Hey, can you go out there and murder a fucking bunch of civilians? Hey, you know your old neighborhood? Can you just walk in there and fucking kill everybody? No. Like, your military will probably also revolt with them. Like, it depends. Like it's very difficult for you to get the backing of your military, like Maduro has. Probably because he's giving a fuck ton of money to our constituents and people in the military. Maybe. I'm not really 100% sure.
Not happen. And if you think, again, you think that genocide is better in Venezuela than a civil war, I need to hear your argument when you say that.
Okay. Where's the genocide happening in Venezuela? There's been one truck running over protesters and a bunch of other, I think, like bombs. It's not full genocide. It's just fucking the government killing people a little bit, I think. How many people have died to the government? Hold on. Like, obviously, Venezuela's killing civilians, which is really bad. But it's not like a full-scale genocide. They're not, like, running them fucking... Like, they're not just gunning civilian downs left and right. The government has to, like, somehow... Like, is that it? Weird noise. Alright, let's see. Like, just how many people have died? Like, this... Like, shit's happening badly, but it's not like a fucking genocide. They're not just, like, running around gunning everybody down. There's a bunch of other problems that, like, just giving your civilians guns wouldn't solve. Fucking Jesus. Like, what's... Okay, let's say we just dump enough weapons into Venezuela right now to give every single civilian an AR-15. Like, we just dumped all that in there. Who's to say that they just won't start fucking killing everybody around them and causing a bunch of chaos because there's no, like, leader structure or anything like that? Like, why do you think it's so clear cut that, like, you just give guns to the civilians, they'll just rise up and do what's necessary, bring back democracy? Like, who? Why? What's for? Why? Why do you think that every single civilian in if a conflict breaks out, like a civil war breaks out, why do you think every single civilian will just like agree to be like, you know what? We're gonna fight for democracy. Like, no, people have different fucking ideas. If there's some gang members out there, they'll try to look to grab as much guns as humanly possible so that they can control a portion of people, get a small army going, and then they can start taking over parts of the land. And then all of a sudden, the entire fucking Venezuelan system is fucked and splattered all over the place. It's fucking gangs and shit running around taking over shit. Like, it's not simple. It's not easy.
That guns in the hands of civilians wouldn't help. I just don't agree. Just like we have a historical precedent for all socialists.
Sure, maybe it will help. Maybe it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It's not that easy.
Marxist communist governments doing this. Do we have any kind of a precedent for armed populations fighting people? Well, Switzerland weren't invaded during World War II, and I know some of you will say, well, they had a geographical advantage because of the mountainous region. Okay, but you know what? Let's use another example. Direct quote from Japanese military.
Well, also because Switzerland, like you can use, I'm okay with you using Switzerland as an example for everyone having like a gun. They also have 2 years of fucking military training for every single civilian. And if you decide to opt out of that, you don't get a gun. I'm pretty sure is the thing. Or you can't even opt out of it. I'm not sure. But yeah, you need 2 years of fucking military service to get a gun in Switzerland. It's not fucking comparable whatsoever to the United States. Not even close.
When they were asked why they didn't invade the United States after Pearl Harbor, said there would have been a gun behind every example. Direct quote from Japanese military. When they were asked why they didn't invade the United States after Pearl Harbor, said there would have...
I'm sorry, what? All Swiss men were liable for conscription, and all were issued with rifles that they kept at home in a case of mobilization. For a nation of just 4 million people, the Swiss could have mustered an army as large as 850 strong, 850,000 on Lonely Mountain in Switzerland. Yeah, of course. Okay, that's Switzerland. Duh. But they all had, they were all up for conscription because they all had military training. Duh. Somebody mentioned it, but I just figured it. It just needs to be mentioned again. I like for you to consider this fact. After World War II, the United States asked Japan military high command why they didn't invade the United States after they bombed Pearl Harbor. The reply was yes, and it's a quote. There would have been a gun behind every blade of grass. So one guy said that, even though largely the tactic was that they knew that the military might of the United States was immense. Like that doesn't mean that civil. What a quote! Amazing. Fuck. Gun control debunked.
There's been a gun behind every blade of grass. By the way, Japanese is very flowery. What's your excuse, Hirono? Don't you think I know how to do poetry? Give me credit. I give you no credit. None whatsoever. This is what's so important. It's so predictable. There's nothing unique about it.
God, when will Crowder actually come up with a funny joke? And when will people stop fake laughing at him every single fucking time? It's the most annoying thing in existence is the stupid fake laugh that they cut over to when he says some dumb fucking joke that makes no sense or some borderline racist joke about Japanese people. All right.
Venezuela. It would be, if you could find an exception. No, all big government.
Like I know Hassan said this, but how much did they get paid to fake laugh?
And socialist leaders disarm their citizens. Yes. Soviet Union, Cuba. It would be, if you could find an exception. No, all big government and socialist leaders disarm their citizens. Yes.
Good laws. Argument of the rights that has been less government encroachment in the U.S. The country that commerce, gun rights are now witnessing. Okay. Okay, where does this fucking come from? Some random fucking article. Is that from this? Let's see. Oh, wow. All right. Let's read this whole fucking article. Although gun control laws are not created equally in terms of overall impact, gun confiscation holds a special place in the halls of political repression. A trip down memory lane will give us a refreshing of how gun confiscation has helped consolidate government power. The Soviet Union and its satellite states. Similarly, mark on the deadliest political regime in the history of mankind. However, it could not get away with such atrocities without having a complete monopoly on the use of force. Ironically, the famous Soviet leader Vladimir Lenin called for a proletarian militia in his essay. What kind of militia do we need? The proletariat? All the tolling people? A genuine people's militia, i.e. one that first consists of the entire population of all adult citizens, both sexes, and second, one that combines the function of the people's army with the police functions, with the functions of the chief and the fundamental organ of the public. Lenin's idea manifested themselves in the military from once the Military Revolutionary Committee was created in late 1917. Despite the ostensive revolution nature, these military forces morphed into another enforcement arm of the state. To maintain its iron grip, the Soviet... So wait. So Lenin wanted everyone to be... Lenin wanted a militia, and Stalin changed it? Lenin's idea manifested themselves in the military form once the Military Revolution Committee was created in late 1917. Despite the ostensive revolutionary nature, these military forces morphed into another enforcement arm of the state. Okay. To maintain its iron grip, the Soviet Union had to turn to the most proven form of suppression, gun confiscation. On December 10th, 1918, the Council of People's Commissar mandated the Soviet citizens turn in their firearms. Failure to do so led to criminal prosecution. The Soviet gun control laws remained tight in the following decades, although government did go out of its way to give Communist Party affiliates privileged access to firearms. Okay. Once World War II came to an end, Eastern European countries took after their Soviet overlords and started implementing gun confiscation as detailed in the fire, blah, blah, blah. They confiscated privately owned firearms. East Germany, privately owned gun ownership was banned, even though the government didn't allow for agricultural collectives to possess hunting weapons while taking part in the government-supervised hunts. Hungary, Communist Minister, blah, blah. Although the numbers are highly disputed, Robert Conquest contends in his book The Great Terror that at least from Nazi Germany. These days, the word Nazi is tossed around liberally, almost rendering the definition meaningless. Or regardless, the history of Nazi Germany should not be never free from increasing the both sides of the gun debate mistake when discussing the gun control. Okay, the pro-gun control side claims that gun rights were actually expanded under Nazi rule, but there's more to the story. Marginal liberalization in gun laws specifically favor the German populace. Independent Institute senior blah 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 blah. State. Okay, that many enemies of the state had been removed from society. Some restrictions could be slightly liberalized, especially for Nazi party members, but Jews were prohibited from working in the firearms industry, and 22 caliber hollow point ammunition was banned. Okay. So yeah, so Germany banned guns to everyone except for Germans, because, well, yeah. Cuba, Venezuela, South Africa next. So really, there's not like a... So... There's the Soviet Union, there's Nazis, there's Cuba, which I think was guns for what? To fight against whom? Against the revolutionary government that has the support of the people. Okay, Venezuela. So then a bunch of dictators, and then South Africa has recently embraced gun confiscation. According to the Citizens, the Constitutional Court of South Africa ordered the confiscation of about 300,000 firearms in June 2018. So to say political tension in South Africa is mounting would be an understatement. So now, is South Africa a socialist nation? Like, I don't understand this. All socialist nations do this. Okay, or like a lot of nations are doing it, because Canada's not socialist, Denmark's not, France, like nobody, like. The United States has the most lax gun laws. Other nations exist with lax gun laws. I don't understand. So I don't understand this point then. Because so the Soviet Union, it seemed like it kind of just went corrupt, and they started taking weapons from everybody, so they couldn't. So like that's the only good point, is that the Soviet Union did it, but the Soviet Union isn't like socialism. That's authoritarian communism. Nazi Germany did it so that the Jews couldn't have the weapons. So, you know, fascism. Fascissimo. Cuba, by targeting rival revolutionary groups who fought the... Okay, so Fidel started with... So, and again, take away guns from your rivals. So, just a war tactic, it seems. And then, like, it just turned into everyone get rid of their guns. Ministry of Interior, the Medieval Wall, like other socialist programs, the Cuban experience has been filled with death and economic destruction. Estimated point, murdered by the hands of Castro regime, with millions of Cubans fleeing to the States in search of greener pastures. How biased is this fucking... Austrian economics, freedom, and peace. Jesus. What is this website? Anyways. But yeah, like, there's like a couple that point to it, but then it's like, South Africa isn't socialist. Nazi Germany isn't socialist. The Soviet Union was super dictatorial. Same with Cuba. And then Venezuela was all right until it went bad because of a dictator, Maduro. Like, I don't get it. And the crashing oil prices. So I don't like I don't get the point. Hold on. I don't actually care. I was gonna see like what the fuck is up with that website, but I don't really care.
Union, Cuba, Nazi Germany. Socialism.
Oh, Nazi Germany. Oh yeah, I forgot. He thinks Nazi Germany is a socialist. Oh, right.
With socialism, disarmament is the rule, not the exception. What lesson?
So. What a fucking garbage point. With socialism, so okay, yeah, so this is how he thinks. So he thinks that when Nazi Germany took away their guns, it was a socialist program, not fascist dictatorship trying to take away the power from your enemies. When the Soviet Union does it, it's just like a part of socialism is to take away guns from your citizens, which doesn't make any fucking sense. How about you reduce guns because it's provable that with less guns there are less gun deaths, because here's the and then don't remove suicides from this because it's a valid point. If you have a gun beside your desk and you're feeling depressed, you have a higher chance if you're depressed as fuck and want to kill yourself, there's a higher chance you'll kill yourself if you have a gun next to you, whereas if you have nothing or like a rope, because it's easy as fuck to kill yourself with a gun because it's just a fucking button press. Like if you just had a red button to eject yourself out of a seat or whatever, it's really easy to do it. So guns are a simpler way of committing suicide. So therefore, it's higher chance that you'll use them to commit suicide with. So that's why the suicide rate with guns is like higher in the United States. Blah blah blah, whatever the study is, I forget. And then other gun deaths are higher in the United States, obviously because there's more guns. Now, do I want to remove all guns from the United States, or do I want all guns to just be removed from all people? No, because you know what, guns are fun. You know, they're cool. They're you know, you can go out and have fun with them, but you got to be super responsible with them. And is the United States responsible with it? Not even fucking close. They have a horrible background check system that barely covers anybody, and 90% of the time when somebody shoots up a place, it's because they dodged a background check. And the problem with Chicago is that, yes, Chicago has extremely strict gun regulations, but the neighboring cities and neighboring states don't have that. So somebody who wants guns, gang members who want guns, will just drive out to the other state, buy the stuff, and come back, because it's not like there's a fucking checkpoint between the two places, distribute the guns to whoever they need to, and then we have Chicago.
Number two, this one is kind of an aside, but I want to include it. We learned that Trump is a Russian stooge. My important one, though, so this is really simple.
Especially between cities. Like, other cities have, like, lax gun laws, so they just walk to another city or drive to another city, buy the guns, and come back. Like, there's no checkpoint to check if you have guns or not. Doesn't matter how strict your gun laws are within the city. If you have free access to the city and out of the city, because obviously you do constitutionally, then the guns can just come in.
Putin has supported Maduro openly and repeatedly. Yeah. Maduro was actually renting a plane, did you know, to escape to Cuba.
Yeah, he was out.
Before the Russians convinced him not to. And back in January, Trump issued a statement officially recognizing one other guy. One
last name.
As the interim president of Venezuela. And by the way, it's also important to note that as the interim president of Venezuela, one other guy. One other guy.
One last name.
As the interim president of Venezuela. And by the way, it's also important to note that...
So, now, here's the problem with pushing your fucking government into other governments. With the government supporting Guaido as the president, it's pretty fucking bad because it doesn't matter. Like, you have to let... If you're all about democracy in the United States, you have to let democracy take hold. So we have to actually figure out if the people are actually behind Guaido or not. If they're not, get the fuck out of there. Stop it. Don't push this guy in there. It seems like Guaido doesn't actually have the people's support. It's, again, the same problem that Maduro had, where he's just fuxing with the numbers to say that he has more support.
You know, Russia
just
had
lying.
close relations with Cuba, and if you look at Donald Trump and Bolton, and they're...
I think David Pakman did a video on this for some reason. Top brass of Venezuela, Russia, major China, Turkey, Iran, the Venezuelan Supreme Court, state oil company, some left-leaning Latin American governments, Mexico. Oh, okay, so he doesn't actually support Maduro. He just urges dialogue, whatever the fuck that means. There are signs that the Venezuelan military defections may be rising, with increasing numbers deserting and arriving in Colombia and Brazil, the United States, Brazil, most major South American governments. So no actual citizens seem to support both people. Awesome. Go democracy, right, guys?
Not only their sanctions, but their rhetoric on Cuba. Again, it's just back to that. But if you don't believe me, and I don't think you should believe me, you should never believe me. Don't believe me. Believe your lying eyes and believe your lying ears. Here's President Trump meeting with one other guy's wife, telling her that her husband is 100% the president. When asked about Russia, by the way, he couldn't be more clear.
We are with Venezuela. We are with your husband, as you know, and we're with the people that he represents, which is a big majority of the country.
A big majority of the country. I need proof of that, my friend. As you know, a big majority of the country. I don't have any facts or statistics to back that up, but the people are with Guaido, trust me.
Russia has to get out.
What?
What's your next question?
Russia has to get out. Why don't you get the fuck out? Why? I hate this so fucking much, dude. It's painful. Russia has to get out. How about you get out and let democracy take over? How about that? Fucking Jesus.
Someone's in the Kremlin's. Oh!
Like, don't support a specific leader. Just help Venezuela get democracy back. Just do that, please. Don't do an Afghanistan. Don't do an Iraq and Afghanistan again. Don't do another Middle East. Just, please, get democracy back into Venezuela. It's okay for you to say that a certain president election is illegitimate because, well, if it is, then it is, right? But don't throw your support behind any specific leader. Let democracy within the nation take over. Okay? This is fucking super clear. If you're all about democracy, buddy, then allow democracy to do its shit. Don't just say, like, hey, you know what? We like this president. Because why do you like this president? Is he going to give you a fuck ton of oil when he gets into office? Maybe. Not really sure. What kind of benefits does he have getting your support? Or what kind of benefits does the United States get from his support? Why would the United States support him over Maduro? Very interesting. Why wouldn't, if Maduro is so bad, why wouldn't you just let democracy come back into play, because obviously, if Maduro's that bad, he'll just get voted out. Why? Why Guaido? Why? Why him? Why not anybody else? Why specifically Guaido are you supporting him? Huh? Sounds like there's a conflict of interest there.
That's awesome. What do you think about Russia? Scrub. Okay. All right. Like, it couldn't be more forceful. Not only does socialism not work, but the macro really works. Socialism is outright evil. I've talked about this many times. It's not compassionate. No. Maduro's army.
I mean, no.
They're running people down the streets.
You just like haven't just demonstrated that.
Socialism always ends. How is there any question?
Always ends this way. Well, no.
As to this being pure evil. Venezuela, again, it's not an outlier. The 20th century socialist Marxist regimes have killed over 100 million people. Tell that to your edgy atheist.
Marxist regimes. Okay, no country who's following socialism has ever followed Marxism. Like, not even fucking close.
Friend who talks about all religions being fought in the name, all wars being fought in the name of religion. I don't understand. Please answer me. How is this being fought in the name of religion?
Oh, except for the fact that, like...
all wars being fought in the name of religion. I don't... All religions being fought...
20 million deaths, China, 65 million deaths. Vietnam, 1 million deaths. North Korea, 1 million. I wonder if that's like a fucks the number of like the war that happened. I wonder. North Korea, 2 million deaths. North Korea is not socialism. Oh my, you can't actually consider them socialists. That's so fucking stupid. But guys, they have People's Republic in their name. They must be socialist. I love that Steven Crowder can go by the word. Oh, no, yeah. No, this is actually just completely in line with how he thinks. So because Nazi has social worker, like Socialist Workers Party, whatever, that's like the party name. He's like, oh, that means they're socialist. Because North Korea's name is like the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea or whatever the fuck it's called, and Democratic People's Republic of China. I think I mixed those two names up, but their names, because they have like some form of socialism in their name, therefore they must be socialist. Not like, I'm not going to base it on the policies they implement and how they act towards other people and stuff like that. I'm going to ignore that one. Cambodia, 2 million deaths, which, wasn't that the United States that put that guy in power? So that should be scratched off the list. Eastern Europe, 1 million deaths. Okay. Latin America, 150,000 deaths. Africa. So the entire continent of Africa. Yes, the entire continent of Africa was socialist. That's where all of these deaths come from. That doesn't sound suspect as fuck. Afghanistan. Yes, Afghanistan was totally socialist, guys. 100 million% socialist. Yep. Okay, that's another 100. The International Communist Movement and communist parties not in power, about 10,000 deaths. The total approaches 100 million people killed. Like, if you want to be this broad, then you can just attach any kind of like deaths from starvation or whatever to capitalism. It's like, oh, starving people in Africa, capitalism. Starving people in your own nations, capitalism. Like, you can just slam it on there. Like, how many people have died? Fuck. See? God. World Hunger Organization estimate that nearly 1 billion people around the world are chronically hungry. Shit, that's capitalism, guys. It's capitalism. Guys, capitalism, guys. Capitalism has killed 1 billion people, guys. Guys, we're gonna ignore. I know this encompasses also the socialist countries, but that's only 100 million. So if socialist communist countries have only killed 100 million people, then that means capitalist countries have killed 900 million people. Here we go, boys. We're counting heads. Like, if you want to be that fucking broad with your goddamn numbers, like, hey, these people died in like close proximity to socialist nations, so therefore socialism is the reason why they or like arguably not even socialist nations, but you know what I'm saying. Let's just agree. Oh, the close proximity to socialist nations, therefore those deaths are involved with socialism. It's like, okay, well then 900 billion people have died because of capitalism. If you want to be that fucking broad, god fucking damn it.
Atheist friend who talks about all religions being fought in the name, all wars being fought in the name of religion. I don't understand. Please answer me. How is this a surprise to anyone? If only we had the literal exact comparison of a Marxist out of control government running over dissidents with tanks in the history books.
Oh, whether there's any evidence of a capitalist country running over people with their tanks. Oh, wait, the United States constantly does this all the fucking time. Nazi Germany was very much capitalist. Like, every time you say something, you can just flip it onto capitalism because you're being so fucking broad with it. And I'm not, like, I'm not even a socialist, but you're being so fucking abstract with these fucking, like, what does it mean to be socialist, and what does it mean to be, like, what, like, any kind of death, because you're being so broad with deaths in socialist countries and being like, okay, they died from natural causes, therefore it's socialist. Then I could be equally broad with capitalism.
Is it possible? Somewhere, maybe. You starting to get the picture? And this is what...
Yeah, okay. Anytime there's ever been a... So, fuck. It's so goddamn annoying. Any revolt that's ever happened under capitalism, we could just point to that as like, oh, what's the real example?
This is the issue. We have to go to Senator Rand Paul a little bit. Socialism, it starts with, it can only function with an entirely powerless and entirely defenseless society. The two are different things. When I say powerless, I mean people who are reliant on the government for their healthcare, reliant on the government for their education, reliant on the government for their welfare, for their ability to live. You suck the soul. Reliant on the government for their healthcare, reliant on the government. The two are different things. When I say powerless, I mean people who are reliant on the government for their healthcare, reliant on the government for their education, reliant on the government for...
What do you mean reliant on the government for their healthcare? People can't afford it, and they're working like... I don't understand. It's so impossible to deconstruct this right now because of his stupid thought process on how on how healthcare works. Guys, just get a better job. No, you can't do that, moron.
For their welfare, for their ability to live. You suck the soul straight from somebody's body. When I talk about defenseless, I'm talking about systematic disarmament, and one, of course, precedes the other. This is one thing, too, that you can't, I think Thomas Sowell talked about this, you can't blame the leaders who seize control that you've willingly given to them. At some point, maybe it was democratic, but guess what? At some point, it's not going to be. Let's not say Bernie Sanders is a Maduro. I don't think he would be. Maybe not the next guy, but it could be the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy, and you're too far in because you're dependent on the government based on these policies because you thought you were getting a gimme.
Oh, I get it. If you give social health care, oh my god, guys, I figured it out. Oh, it's so simple, guys. When you give your country socialized medicine, it allows them to control you because when they take it away, then like you're at the whim of the government. So what's stopping corporations from doing that? And then you're at the whim of the corporations, and that's why you're paying so much fucking money right now, because the corporations are literally bargaining with your life. Like, obviously you're gonna pay for all the medicine you need when your life's on the line. Like, duh. Isn't that like the same thing? No, but there's other companies. Just go find like the other company. But the other company is also equally as expensive, because why would they want to lower their prices when they can just make profit at the same rate as the other companies can? Because like there's no reason to really lower your prices down, because again, you're bargaining with somebody's life, and obviously they're going to pay whatever money they can to get the care they need, because well, they're going to die if they don't get it. But you know, that's just that's a byproduct of capitalism, guys. Like, I can't help it. It's not capitalism's fault that that's happening. It's just boycott the company. Well, if they try to boycott the companies, then they just won't get their health care, and then they die. So, I mean, it's not really a realistic thing to go through. Well, that sucks, then. Whoops. Get a better job.
And let me something else here that I think is important to note. No one here is arguing that. Free enterprise, of course, has its problems. But if I'm wrong, and this is the issue, the idea of...
So then, who's saying that socialism is perfect? Can you, like, tell me who's telling you that socialism is perfect? Because I don't remember ever hearing that in my entire existence, that socialism is perfect. I don't remember that point. I don't remember that one. I could be wrong. You know what? I could be wrong, dude, but I don't remember that ever happening. Okay? I don't remember that coming out. I don't remember Bernie Sanders walking out on stage and going, guys, come on, try. Socialism has never done anything wrong. Socialism is perfect. Nothing has ever happened bad in a socialist nation. I don't remember that ever happening.
Of dispersing power, but not being centralized. If I'm wrong, and Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos are corrupt, and they become like Maduro's, you know what?
Jeff Bezos is 100% corrupt. I don't know what you're talking about. That guy, the only reason he's paying $15 minimum wage in California is because Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders, like, fucking broke his door down and shoved it up his ass.
Thousands of people. If I'm wrong, and Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos are corrupt, and they become like Maduro's, you know what? thousands of people lose their jobs. The economy is going to do pretty poorly. Yeah, it'll be catastrophic economically for a lot of people. If you're wrong, people get starved and run over with.
I don't understand how he doesn't see like the contrast here. If a business had as much control over a nation as Maduro does, then they could do the same things that Maduro does. Maduro is became into power through dictatorial means and now controls the majority of like the government because it was set up improperly, and he changed it so that he holds more power than he should. That's a failure. Like that's him like changing the government in front of their eyes and stuff like that. If for whatever reason a business has enough power, which they almost can, depends on how much money like you're paying, right? Like, it's so stupid. Like, oh, guys, only a few thousand people lose their job. Yeah, but what if Amazon controlled the United States the same way Maduro controls his nation? Well, then, I would assume that Amazon tanks are running people over. Duh. Oh my fucking god! And when you advocate for super uber deregulations of the government, then yeah, these companies will end up taking over because there's nothing stopping them to, because well, they're not accountable by the population. Exactly, right? Unless of course like the only form is like through a major boycotting of the entire like all of Amazon, which is not exactly realistic. And yeah, like
with tanks. So if you're gonna take the lesser of two evils, let me know what you pick. Hey there.
Yeah, let me take the lesser of two evils, even though they're completely not comparable whatsoever.
If you like this video, subscribe or click one of these videos playing in a box. You know what? Hit the notification bell because subscription.
Guys, only a few thousand people lose their jobs. No, not a few thousand people. How many people does fucking 500,000 people. Yeah, not a few thousand people. 500,000 people. Let's say Jeff Bezos goes Maduro style. 500,000 people lose their job and now don't have any fucking money or just get like absolutely murdered. God, so fucking dumb. Fuck, I don't. How fucking dumb are you? I don't understand. Let me take this completely uncomparable thing and say like, oh, I'll take the lesser of two evils. Oh my god. Oh, I gotta reply on the fucking thing. Wait.
Do you think it's
Shut up.
a better scenario that citizens are being defensive?
The crisis has been going on since 2011-2012. It could be argued that it started sooner around 2009 when Chavez won a referendum to re-elect himself. So, buddy, learn some real research skills. Except... No. Hold on. Where's the chart? Hugo Chavez elected president, stays high, and then drops over here. Production. Oh, that's production. Okay, that's not prices. I need to know the oil price drop, you fucking moron. 2019. It's 2. Where's the fucking graph showing me when it dropped? God damn. Okay, I guess I'm going to fucking back to the Vox video.
Oppose the election of the assembly. After most Venezuelans voted
okay, right there.
Food that were once hyperinflation has made medicines and failed to adjust.
2014. Okay, where's that article? That direct graph, if it's in here. Okay, what minute am I at? 14? 414? Okay. Let's try this. What is this? Is the graph like right here? Or is this like a full article? Okay, I guess I'm reading this article now. It's hard to convey the severity of... Oh. What? It is hard to convey the severity of Venezuela's ongoing crisis. That extends to astounding. The economy shrank by 10% last year. This will be 23 smaller than in 2013 by the end of this year, according to... Alright, well, I'm just going to pause this. I don't understand this. Like, okay, so I bet you this fucking moron is just saying that, oh, the entire time Chavez has been in office has been a problem. It's like, well, no. Oh, and they're completely ignoring the fact that, like, Steven Crowder fucks with the numbers, but that's okay. Why did I start this conversation? Okay, let's move over here. God fucking damn it, dude. Makes me fucking want to injure myself.